My name is Derrick. I'm with the band Conquest. Uh, Looking forward to doing this interview with you guys. And I got the record just came out. It's called Paradox, Dark Star Records, and looking forward to doing this interview with you, my friend.
Beautiful. Derek, thanks for joining us today, brother.
Again, my pleasure. Definitely my pleasure.
So, as you say, Conquest released your latest album, Paradox, back on April the 19th, mate. So, it's been about a month and a half now. So, how's the initial reaction been?
So far, really good. I mean, we've pretty blessed on how much attention it's getting these days, and that's awesome. When you're a musician and you're an artist at it, you hope for the best.
Prepare for a disaster and everything else is gravy after that.
That's right. That's exactly right. Expect the worst and keep pushing for the best.
Yeah. So, tell us a bit more about the album from a musical point of view, mate, and what you were going for with it.
So the record Paradox is 16 songs. One is a cover of The Man on the Silver Mountain. That's an old Rainbow song. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
Love that song.
Right? Yeah. So Dio and Richie Blackmore was like early on a big inspiration for me. So I was really into that old Priest and stuff like that. So that's how that song found its way on the record. Just something I always wanted to record, and that kind of spawned the whole thing. And then the other tracks, we had a bunch of tunes written for the record, but then COVID hit, fired up and everything was like that. And then the original drummer had left the band for a little bit because of he had major personal issues he had to go deal with. So that he's been out of the band now. Tim's out of the band, and Lee came in and filled in for the last 2 years. Filled in, I shouldn't say, became the member of the band, and just killed it on the drums, man, brought this thunder to the songs. So we put all these songs together and ended up with 16 tracks after writing with Lee. And we just piled in, next one, and really cool. And it's really a diverse record. Have you checked it out?
Yeah, I had listened to about half of it while I was doing the questions up, mate. I like it. Very old school.
Very old school with a little touch of new stuff here and there. And I try to keep the production raw. I don't like overproduced stuff. So we kept it raw, old school, like you said, old school. So.
Oh, now just so someone hasn't heard of the band much before, you've released the singles Walking Dead and Writings on the Wall. So are they a good sonic representation of what you expect overall?
Yeah, there's going to be some more things coming out. I know Love Amplified is going to come out in a little while as a single. World of Hate's probably going to show up. There's a lot of diversity on the record, so we like to get it all out. And I think that people who like heavy metal for real, who listen to anything from Iron Maiden to Priest and it's just traditional metal stuff, Dio and that kind of stuff, I think they'll appreciate the record. So,
well, let's just expand on that a little bit more, mate. So, just say there's people out there who have never heard of Conquest before, like using songs from your whole catalog. Give me 3 songs that people can listen to as an introduction to the band.
So, off the Paradox record, I'd probably say I would send them Babylon America. I'd probably send them Valley of the Damned. Because we like to thrash, we like to go fast too, not just the mid-tempo stuff. But then, Writing on the Wall or Walking Dead, Save Me. Those songs live, they're still slamming in a little different way. You know how that goes. But the new record is being received. The shows that we've played with all the new tunes, it's gone over real well. Even Celtic Mist is another one, totally different vibe, man. I mean, I don't like to make a ditto. I don't want every song on the record to be the same. And been writing for many years, right? So putting it together from the Devil's Creed opening, that's really traditional to me, power metal. And Lee kills on that song. The drum fills in that song are astronomical, So that's how I view it. And then we move to the next track down the line. But if I had to pick those 3, that's probably what I'd pick.
No worries. Now, I'm not sure if I understood the press release properly, mate, but the impression I got from reading it was that you wrote and recorded a lot of it in the studio at the same time. Is that right?
So, yeah. So I own my own studio. So the guys would come over, through a whole weekend, and we just get together and write and play hooks and get it going, and then track a little bit of it, get it figured out. Usually I write all the lyrics so that I work on melodies and all that. It was a lot kind of a little more organic that way. Not all the songs were done that way, but there was a fair portion of them was done that way, and it was really organic and allowed Lee just to, to me, drummers sometimes can overthink music,
Yeah.
and this time with Lee doing it, it was just powerful and aggressive without too much thought put into it, and sometimes I think that's the best music out there.
So you make a good point there. Like if you're doing it that way, like everything would be sort of raw when you come back to it. Like if you sort of sit on it and digest, play around with it a little bit, you put those polishes on it, and it sort of becomes a structured song. But if you're just jamming it out and putting it down there, you get the real feel of it.
Well, totally, man. It's one of those things that, not all songs, but some songs are contrived, and put together, okay, here's this part, let's mesh it with this part, let's push this together. But then there's some stuff that's just straight out hard rock, heavy metal, where you just get in a room and jam it out. And so there's a lot of both of these. What makes the record cool to me is both of these elements are on this record. And that's not always easy to do and still make it sound like they belong with each other.
Yeah. Now, looking through the track listing, mate, there's no song on there called Paradox, which means the album title must have a bit more of a special meaning to you.
Well, it's about the concept of the music. Everything has a parallel to it. And a lot of the music, it represents, kind of what's going on in the world, what's going on in America, what's going on. But there's just good old straight up hard rock songs like Love Amplified. That's about falling in love with a song, with your guitar. When I was like 13 years old, I started playing the guitar, and that became everything, right? So kind of fell in love with the guitar. So Love's Amplified, right?
Now, you've been quoted as saying that the album had many obstacles. Like, what were they, and how did you get around them?
So, like I said, Tim, who was the drummer of the band for many years, had to leave the band due to personal situations. So that kind of came out of nowhere for us somewhat. And so we were in the middle of making the record, and all of a sudden we hit the brakes. And then Lee came back in, and I've known Lee for a long time, and he fit in like a glove, man. He stepped in and just bam, pounded them drums out. So that was an obstacle that I wasn't quite sure how that was going to go, because you're in the middle of doing something, you got one feel going on, then all of a sudden, erase, start over, try this with this, and it turned out phenomenal. And the same thing with Rob. Rob's a great bass player, but he lives a little further away from us, so it takes him a little more for him to get here to do it. So a lot of that was done over the telephone. Hey man, check this hook out. Get this blah 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 blah. So then when he got here, we work real well together. Everybody, we don't try to be my way or the highway thing. We work with each other so that we can make it about the whole band, and the music comes out as the whole band.
Now, we touched on this before, mate, but you can definitely hear any music that you've got a lot of that old school thrash roots to you. So as a band, like, how difficult is it playing older music like that everybody knows and loves, but putting your own spin on it to make it A, sound like yours, and B, sound a bit more modern and fresh?
Right. Which is as you guys know, man, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do anymore, especially because everything's been done. I mean, when you go get the brand new Testament record, as much as I'm a Testament fan, you're waiting for that spark because you've heard, what else can they do?
Yeah.
But yet it's great music, it's great music. And that's what I tell everybody in today's world. If you're over 25 and you're listening to music, listen to it 2 or 3 times before you form an opinion, because you've heard everything already. So nothing's going to shock you. You know what I mean? So enjoy the music for music. Don't try to always look for the new greatest, latest thing. So that being said, we just try to keep it real, keep the music aggressive. Like you said, in the old days, we were more of a thrash band when you rewind. But as you get older too, man, I don't want everything to go 90 miles an hour. I like stuff that drives too, that has that slow, movement. So I'm cool with all of it, and the band is too. So Mike's leads are just on the record. Take a song like In the Heavens. I don't know if you checked that track out or not, but it's so different than anything else on that record. And one day he came to me and started picking this piece out. I'm like, that's cool, man. I don't know what we'll do with it, but it's cool. And then the one other time he came in strumming this piece, and I go, hey, play that other part you had that one time. And he did. Next thing you know, hit the record button. We mesh it together. hey man, don't play the lead on your electric guitar. Go pick up that acoustic over there and play the lead on that. Just something, way off the beaten path. So that's how we do it.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think I've ever asked anyone this before, but you just brought it to my mind. Like a lot of musicians will talk about that. Like they'll talk about a riff that someone had ages ago and then you bring it into a song. But you guys have got that much music in your head. How the fuck do you remember a riff someone played 10 years ago to put in another song?
It's amazing, but you do. Speaking of that, so you take Love Amplified. Mike brought that little diddly, the front piece that's kind of like a Van Halen thing or whatever. And then I wrote some hooks for it for the verses and all that. And then we were like, we need a bridge and a break. Well, hey, remember that one song? So we went and grabbed that out of there. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is. And you feel it and you know it fits and you start playing it. It's cool.
Yeah.
So
very sweet. Now, you've got a show coming up with Burning Witches on July the 12th as well, mate. Tell us more about that.
So, Burning Witches, are you familiar with the girls?
Yeah, I've interviewed them before. Lovely. Great band. Lovely people.
Yeah, looking forward to playing with them. So, just one of those situations where the promoter in town on the other side, I mean, that's a good distance away from us, but the room that they're playing is a good draw for us. We draw real well there. So, promoter called and said, hey, you want to be on the show? And we said, sure, let's do it. We're getting ready to work on stuff for one more video, and then we'll be working on playing out in the fall. We got a bunch of stuff going to happen in the fall. Hasn't been released yet, but it's happening. So looking forward to that.
Well, all right, Derrick. Well, thanks for your time, mate. Been a pleasure speaking with you today. The new album from Conquest, Paradox, is out now. And if you like your music hard, fast, loud, and old school, give it a crack.
Yeah, it's available everywhere on all forms of media. You can buy it on vinyl, CD, all your download sites, whatever you want. The band obviously appreciates the CD sales and the vinyl sales. So, and to me, I'm old school. I like tearing stuff off and looking at it, and, and reading what it says. So.
But I've only got a CD player in my car. I don't even worry about streaming shit through it. If I've got to listen to music in the car, bang, in goes the CD.
You know what? People call us old school or whatever you want to say. To me, that's how music is supposed to be done.
100%.
In that car jamming on 10, you know what I mean?
100%, brother. I'm on your side there.
Awesome, man. Well, I sure do appreciate you, man. And again, the record Paradox, check it out, conquestmetal.com. And we really appreciate you spreading the word for us.